Welcome, this is Jake with Genesis Rage, and this video will be going over the Login Assistant component that's included with the latest version of SmartFox, which at the time of this recording is 2.7.0. You'll also want to update the client API here, the SmartFox 2X, because they have done some refactoring. The latest version at the time of this recording is 1.3.0. So first we'll be starting off by writing the extension for the server. And as always, I do prefer NetBeans myself, so I'll open that now. And I already have a project called Login ext extension created. There's no files or anything in this yet, so I will go ahead and create a new file now. And we do want a Java class. And this class name I'm going to call just zone extension. And for the package, I don't want to put it in the default package, so I'm actually going to call this Login ext. And with any server extension, what we'll need to do is we'll come into here, and this needs to extends SFS extension. Let that automatically import what we need. And here we're going to create a new private variable of type login assistant. Let that auto import as well. And we'll just call this LAC. And we'll also need to override the method of public void init. And here we'll set the variable of LAC to equal a new login assistant component. And it does require this. It's automatically filled out for me, which is nice. And then we will actually have to get the configuration. So that's LAC get config login table, and this is going to equal users. Have another one here of get config. This one is going to be username field, and this is going to equal username. Next is another get config, and this one is called password field, and this one we will make equal to password. Now with the init function overridden, we're also going to override another class here, or another function. And this one is public void destroy. And here we're just going to call it super destroy. Let's just make sure everything gets cleaned up properly when the extension everything gets shut down. For these string variables here, where I'm getting this information from is actually the database names. So here we have phpMyAdmin to show you here is it's getting the name here for users. That again is for the login table. The username field is username, password field is password. And that is corresponds to these here for username, password. There is also email, but for this, for logging in, you don't need that. For the sign-up component, it is going to be required though. And then the users that we have in here I just grabbed from the SmartFox 2X documentation page. With this code in place, we're now ready to actually build. So I'm going to go clean build just to make sure it is finished building. And now we'll have to actually start up the SmartFox server. Make sure that's ready, and then go into our admin tool and log in. And I am still using the default password. And we will need to go into the zone configurator go into our basic example zone, or any zone that you would like to. Right now it is, for the most part, default, except for I do have a database manager set up that I went over in a previous episode. In order to use this zone extension, you just come into the zone extension tab. We're going to select the login extension and the login ext.zone extension. Save those changes. In order for this to work, we will actually have to come into General tab, and for here we do need to use the custom login. And a good idea is to disable allow guest user access. This allows the login to work completely and not allow people to join even if they're not logged in. We will actually create a separate zone for the sign-up process, because for the sign-up process you do want this enabled. But we can turn that off for now, and we'll submit. And I'll be restarting the server. Now we're ready to go into Unity and create the script for that. So I'm going to create a new C# script. I'm just going to call this one login. And open that up into MonoDevelop. And here we are going to be requiring a couple of using statements. The first one is going to be using SFS2x like normal. Also, we're going to use SFS2x.core and using SFS2x.requests. And now we'll create a couple public variables here in order to change stuff easily in the editor. So I'm going to make a public string, and this one will be called server IP, and is going to equal the 127.0.0.1, or you could also just call this just localhost and it'll work the same. Make a public integer of server port, and by default SmartFox does run on 9933. Create another public string, call this one zone name, and this one here is basic examples. Next will be another public string. If I can spell it correctly. This will be username. I'll set this to Kermit because I do know that is a valid username in the database. And Kermit's password is going to be the frog. For this next part, it's just the basics of actually connecting to a server. So I'm going to edit that out and come back after that is done. So this is the basic connection script that we've actually done in a previous video. It does have the methods for logging in and login errors. However, it's not actually sending any login information yet. So that's what we're going to add here. So after we're successfully connected, we are going to do an sfs.send, and here we'll be sending a new login request, and we're going to send it the username that we added, password, and the zone name. We'll save that, and that's it for the Unity side coding of that. So it's going to connect and it's going to send a new login request, and it's the extension itself that's going to verify whether our username and password is correct. So we'll come into Unity, and I don't have this as a save scene yet, so let's go File, Save. We'll save this one into our video folder, and we'll call this login. And we're going to attach our login script to the main camera. And for here, we do want to test if the password's wrong here. So someone tries to log in with Kermit and the toad for the password. Hit play. Successfully connected, but we do have a login error of 3. It's the wrong wrong password. Turn that off. And now I'll actually change the password to the frog. Play again. successfully connected and logged in through the database there. And that will wrap up this episode. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave them in the comment section below or send an email to jake@genesisrage.net.